A private lunar lander carrying a drill, vacuum, and other experiments for NASA touched down on the moon Sunday, the latest in a string of companies looking to kickstart business on Earth's celestial neighbor ahead of astronaut missions. Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost lander descended from lunar orbit on autopilot, aiming for the slopes of an ancient volcanic dome in an impact basin on the moon's northeastern edge of the near side. Confirmation of touchdown came from the company's mission control outside Austin, Texas, following the action some 225,000 miles away. "We're on the moon," Mission Control reported, adding the lander was stable. A smooth, upright landing makes Firefly, a startup founded a decade ago, the first private outfit to put a spacecraft on the moon without crashing or falling over. Even countries have faltered, with only 5 claiming success: Russia, the US, China, India, and Japan. 2 other companies' landers are hot on Blue Ghost's heels, with the next one expected to join it on the moon later this week. Launched in mid-January from Florida, the 6'6" tall lander carried 10 experiments to the moon for NASA. The space agency paid $101 million for the delivery, plus $44 million for the science and tech on board. It's the 3rd mission under NASA's Commercial Lunar Delivery Program, intended to ignite a lunar economy of competing private businesses while scouting around before astronauts show up later this decade. The demos should get 2 weeks of runtime before lunar daytime ends and the lander shuts down. It carried a vacuum to suck up moon dirt for analysis and a drill to measure temperature as deep as 10 feet below the surface. Also on board, a device for eliminating abrasive lunar dust, a scourge for NASA's long-ago Apollo moonwalkers, who got it caked all over their spacesuits and equipment. On its way to the moon, Blue Ghost beamed back exquisite pictures of the home planet. The lander continued to stun once in orbit around the moon, with detailed shots of the moon's gray pockmarked surface. At the same time, an onboard receiver tracked and acquired signals from the US GPS and European Galileo constellations, an encouraging step forward in navigation for future explorers. The landing set the stage for a fresh crush of visitors angling for a piece of lunar business. Another lander, a tall and skinny 15-footer built and operated by Houston-based Intuitive Machines, is due to land on the moon Thursday. It's aiming for the bottom of the moon, just 100 miles from the South Pole. That's closer to the pole than the company got last year with its first lander, which broke a leg and tipped over. Despite the tumble, Intuitive Machines' lander put the U.S. back on the moon for the first time since NASA astronauts closed out the Apollo program in 1972. A 3rd lander from the Japanese company Aerospace is still 3 months from landing. It shared a rocket ride with Blue Ghost from Cape Canaveral on January 15, taking a longer, windier route. Like Intuitive Machines, Aerospace is also attempting to land on the moon for the 2nd time. Its first lander crashed in 2023. The moon is littered with wreckage not only from Aerospace, but dozens of other failed attempts over the decades. NASA wants to keep up a pace of 2 private lunar landers a year, realizing some missions will fail, said the space agency's top science officer Nikki Fox. Unlike NASA's successful Apollo moon landings that had billions of dollars behind them and ace astronauts at the helm, private companies operate on a limited budget with robotic craft that must land on their own, said Firefly CEO Jason Kim. "Every time we go up, we're learning from each other," Kim said.